Lu Zhen and I grew up in a grand courtyard. After the college entrance examination, I applied to study abroad. My 3 years of studying in Germany marked the longest 7 years in my 5-year life. After much effort, I returned home having completed my studies. I attended a gathering of childhood friends from days gone by. Upon seeing me for the first time, Lu Zhen's girlfriend burst into tears, trembling with emotion, her eyes glistening as she exclaimed, "We look so much alike.
Lu Zhen.
Is she the unattainable white moonlight you have always loved? Now that your white moonlight has returned home, are you not about to soar together with her?" As I was savoring a chicken wing, I bewilderingly gestured towards myself. White moonlight? Who? Me? Why has no one notified me? The moment my words escaped my lips, the entire private room fell into silence. After a brief pause, Pei suddenly chuckled. "Quiet, have you ever been in a relationship abroad?" I wiped the grease from the corner of my mouth and shook my head. I had no time. The room instantly buzzed back to life. Lu Zhen's girlfriend shot me a hostile glance. Her eyes were red and puffy like a rabbit's. She stood before me, scrutinizing me from head to toe. "Sister, you really resemble me." As I struggled to detach the meat skewer from the iron stick with my chopsticks, I looked up at her. Indeed, we share a striking resemblance in gender. Lu Zhen shook the beer can in his hand, lowering his head with a scoff. "Quiet, your timing for returning is rather unfortunate." I set down the iron skewer and took out a tissue to wipe my hands. I gazed intently at Lu Zhen. He was momentarily flustered by my sudden stare, his fingers tightly squeezing the beer can until it became deformed. I sensed that the bond with my childhood friends had somewhat soured after 7 years apart. I sighed softly. "Lu Zhen, I graduated and returned home. Is there any need to discuss timing?" Lu Zhen's expression grew complex. "I thought you wouldn't come back." He appeared significantly more mature than he did 7 years ago. His every gesture exuded a manly aura, tainted by the wretched smell of smoke. I cleared my throat, covering my nose. I certainly had to return. There are important people here for me. Lu Zhen's eyes momentarily brightened, though his expression became somewhat conflicted. His girlfriend's gaze darted rapidly between us.
Pei shot me a glance.
I did not fully comprehend it, yet I winked back at him. Pei sighed dramatically towards the heavens and then mustered a smile. "Quiet, it has been too long since you returned. Let me introduce you. This is Lu Zhen's girlfriend, Xiang Nan. Pei emphasized the phrase girlfriend with particular intensity. I nodded and extended my hand. "Hello, I am Quiet." Xiang Nan pouted and lightly nudged me, her demeanor tinged with grievance. I could not fathom why Xiang Nan harbored animosity towards me. Suddenly, Lu Zhen stood up, his expression somewhat awkward. "I suddenly feel unwell. I will take my leave." However, Xiang Nan extended her hand towards me. "Sister, may I add you on WeChat?" Lu Zhen paused at the door of the private room. I scratched my head, feeling a bit uncomfortable as I explained. I do not have WeChat." Xiang Nan pressed her lips together, her eyes reflecting hurt. "If you don't wish to add me, then forget it." "What a lie," Lu Zhen scoffed. "She has always been like this. A habitual liar." Lu Zhen opened the door to the private room and stepped out, with Nan closely trailing behind him. I couldn't help but laugh in exasperation, exclaiming, "What a lunatic." What's wrong with my aversion to WeChat? I still send text messages. The atmosphere in the private room was thick with awkwardness. Pei chuckled lightly, and Jing, now that you've returned to the country, why not register for WeChat? It's what everyone uses here. Under Pei's guidance, I gradually set up my WeChat account. My new friends in the room promptly added me. After indulging in food and drink, I took Pei's car home. My phone vibrated incessantly in my pocket. Confused, I pulled it out to find I had been added to a group chat with an unusual name, the 5 Warriors of Wolf Tooth Mountain 5.
Pierre Market.
I added in Jing. Several welcome emojis followed. Lu Zhen asked, "Didn't you say you didn't have WeChat?"
I replied, "I just registrerad."
Lu Zhen shot back. "Is there a single word of truth in your mouth?" Pei defended, "She really just registered." I yearned to explain myself, but I noticed the 5 in the group name had changed to 4. Lu Zhen had left the group. Clenching my phone, I cursed. What is wrong with this guy? Pei, with one hand on the steering wheel and the other casually resting on his lips, chuckled. Don't pay him any mind. Lu Zhen had genuinely angered me this time. After parking the car, I made a beeline for Lu Zhen's parents' house. When the door opened, I found Lu Zhen standing there, his hair damp, looking stunned. "What are you doing here?" I pushed him aside and walked in. "Where are your parents?" Lu Zhen grasped my wrist, his brow furrowed. "They went to your house to play mahjong." Rolling my eyes, I thought I should have just gone home directly. Lu Zhen's gaze turned icy, yet held an aggressive undertone as he stared at me, and Jing, I already have a girlfriend. I struggled against his grip, but couldn't he break free. Pei Yi interjected, pulling me away from Lu Zhen's hold. Lu Zhen, don't take this too far. I kicked Lu Zhen's knee, causing him to wince and crouch down in pain. Dusting off non-existent dirt from my hands, I retorted, so what if you have a girlfriend? Should I congratulate you on finding someone? 7 years ago, you inexplicably created a rift between us. I called you from abroad, but you ignored my calls and texts. Now that I've returned, you still can't stand me.
What do you want?
Lu Zhen sprang to his feet, advancing towards me. Pei Yi stepped forward, positioning himself protectively in front of me. Standing behind Pei Yi, I was enveloped in the scent of bergamot, which momentarily distracted me. I had once adored that fragrance. Lu Zhen narrowed his eyes, scrutinizing me. Why did you deceive me back then? I was filled with questions, my mouth opening to respond when I heard a voice from outside. What are you two doing? I turned to see Xiang Nan standing outside, her finger trembling as she pointed at us. Lu Zhen turned his head to the side, showing no inclination to explain. Not wanting to disrupt their relationship, I coolly offered a brief explanation. I came to catch up with an old friend. And it's just the three of us. Xiang Nan scrutinized me before pouting and rushing inside, supporting Lu Zhen. Brother, you seem unhappy. Lu Zhen shook his head and turned to me. Do you need something? I crossed my arms, nodding. I came to complain about your parents. But since they're at my house, I guess I'm fine. Lu Zhen wrapped an arm around Xiang Nan and began to walk further inside. I want to spend some time with my girlfriend. Do you two still want to stay here? I smirked. I'm not in the habit of watching others display their affections. Lu Zhen seemed agitated. He pushed Xiang Nan aside and stepped closer to me. And Jing, I have never waited for you all these years. Don't harbor any delusions about me. In the gleeful gaze of Xiang Nan, a wicked thought crossed my mind. I feigned injury, clutching my chest, and when I looked up, my eyes glistened with faux tears. Then considerate, as though I never returned to the country, I covered my face and ran out of Lu Zhen's house, only allowing myself to burst into laughter once I was in a private space. Pei followed behind, a knowing smirk on his face. Well done, and Jing. Have you been honing your acting skills abroad? I pouted and waved him off. I might as well become an award-winning actress. I'm heading home to sleep. The moonlight elongated my shadow as I stepped into the darkness, following Pei Yi's silhouette. Just before closing the door, I heard his voice, filled with amusement. Good night. And Jing, welcome back to the country. 7 years ago, after the college entrance exams, Lu Zhen tugged at my ponytail, exuding pride. Which university are you planning to apply to? Among the 5 of us in the courtyard, we had grown up together, our bond deep. Yet, it was always Lu Zhen and I who clashed. Each meeting ended in bickering or tussles. Lu Zhen seemed like a cosmic force, perpetually at odds with me. In the cake shop, when there was only one slice of my favorite strawberry cake left, he bought it right in front of me and gave it to a junior who was chasing after him. During our English class presentation, he crumpled my speech draft and mocked me with a raised eyebrow. When a senior confessed to me in our final year, I hadn't even felt the stirrings of affection yet, but Lu Zhen swiftly revealed the love letter to my parents, ensuring I didn't have a phone to use until the exams were over. Such was the litany of his relentless mischief that spanned our childhood to my graduation. I winced at the pain in my scalp as I snapped back at him. Beihan University, a school Lu Zhen could never hope to attend. He stood there, a smirk playing on his lips. Then let us meet at Beihan. I took it as mere bravado, rolling my eyes and walking away. When the admission letter from Beihan University arrived, I also received an acceptance letter from a university in Germany. After much deliberation, I ultimately chose Germany. On the day of my departure, friends and family came to see me off, but Lu Zhen was conspicuously absent. He had Pei Yi relay a message. I never want to see you again. When I arrived in Germany and tried to contact him, he ignored my calls and texts. Out of frustration, I resolutely didn't reach out to him for 7 years. Looking back now, I suspect Lu Zhen didn't get into Beihan University and was simply too embarrassed to face me. After the last gathering, I became preoccupied with job hunting and hadn't attended any other social events. The next time I crossed paths with Lu Zhen was at his father's 60th birthday celebration. I arrived a bit late, and all the good seats were taken. I randomly found a seat at the back. As I surveyed the room, I noticed several cameras. It dawned on me that Xiang Nan was a social media influencer. This was the first time I had encountered an influencer in real life, piquing my curiosity. Xiang Nan, spotting me, approached with her phone raised. Sister and Jing. I didn't expect to see you here. I furrowed my brow, sensing an undertone in her words. I received an invitation. Xiang Nan, however, pointed her phone at me. Everyone, this is Sister Jing, my boyfriend's childhood friend. She has just returned after studying abroad for 7 years. Isn't she stunning? I awkwardly raised my hand to block the camera. What is this all about? Xiang Nan's expression paled, revealing a timid rabbit-like demeanor. Sister Jing, are you upset? I nodded. Of course, who would be happy with a phone aimed at them? Xiang Nan quickly lowered her phone, biting her lip, and bowed to me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Sister Jing. Please don't be angry. I know you like Brother Lu Zhen, but you've been away for so long. I'm now Brother Lu Zhen's girlfriend, and I truly hope for your blessing. Just then, Lu Zhen approached from behind, wrapping an arm around Xiang Nan's shoulder. His tone unfriendly. And Jing, what are you causing a scene about now? I pointed at myself, bewildered. Dude, is there something wrong with your brain? I just sat down here. What scene am I causing? Xiang Nan nestled in Lu Zhen's embrace, her eyes glistening with tears as she pitifully tugged at the hem of his shirt. Brother, I'm fine. And Jing didn't mean it. She was probably just in a bad mood. Lu Zhen gritted his teeth, fixing his intense gaze upon me. And Jing, today is my father's birthday. Must you come here to stir up trouble? If I had known this would happen, why did you go abroad in the first place? I slammed my hands on the table and stood up in anger. Is it wrong for me to study abroad? Once again, we parted on unfriendly terms at Lu Zhen's father's birthday banquet. After slamming the table, I turned on my heel and left. Less than an hour after returning home, Pei knocked on my door, dragging me from the comfort of my bed. With a peculiar expression, he looked at me and said, Jing, have you seen the trending topics? I was engrossed in a melodramatic Korean drama, my eyes red as I glanced at Lu Zhen. What trending topics? Pei pulled out his phone, fiddled with it for a moment, and handed it to me. Upon taking a look, I felt my vision darken. Million-follower beauty blogger Xiang Nan cried during a live stream. Xiang Nan's relationship with the heir of the Lu Corporation exposed. Lu Zhen and Jing childhood sweethearts. Who is Jing? And Jing, the mistress. Xiang Nan's Weibo clarification. I leapt to my feet, exclaiming, what is all this nonsense? Pei patted my shoulder, smirking, you're doomed. Now Xiang Nan's fans are hunting you down across the internet. Before I could absorb the shock, he dropped another bombshell. They say they want to take down the mistress. Frustrated, I raked my fingers through my hair, feeling utterly defeated. I haven't even kissed a guy. How did I become the mistress? Pei chuckled, relishing my predicament. Your parents are on their way home to educate you. I desperately grabbed his arm. Bro, you have to help me. I'm not the mistress.
P'ye simirket.
What good would that do? Lu Zhen skipped his father's birthday banquet for you. After you left, he just walked out. Your parents now think you've gone astray abroad. I felt a wave of despair wash over me, growing increasingly anxious. What should I do? Pei raised an eyebrow. Unless you admit you have a boyfriend, you can expect to be scolded. My eyes flickered with hope before dimming again. Where am I supposed to find a boyfriend now? It's too late. Damn Lu Zhen. Always causing me trouble. And you. I shot a fierce glare at Pei. Why didn't you explain things? Pei let out a scoff. What good would my explanation do? You don't really think Lu Zhen doesn't like you, do you? I jumped up, covering Pei's mouth.
Keep your mouth shut.
Don't make things worse. Of course, I knew Lu Zhen had feelings for me, but his affection was rooted in teasing and bullying me. Who would want someone who loved them in such a manner? That was why I had gone abroad. I thought distance would restore our former friendship, but I never anticipated that after 7 years apart, Lu Zhen had turned utterly strange. Besides, I felt no romantic stirrings toward him whatsoever. As I collided with Pei, he stumbled, and we both fell to the ground. I landed on his chest just as my parents' puzzled voices echoed above us. What are you two doing? We scrambled to our feet. I scratched my head, about to explain, when Pei wrapped an arm around my shoulders. Uncle, Auntie, I apologize for not being honest with you. I'm actually dating Jing. I gasped, what? Pei pinched me discreetly, and I turned my gasp into an exaggerated exclamation. Baring my teeth. My parents exchanged incredulous glances. Is that true? I quickly leaned my head against Pei's chest. More genuine than pearls. Pei nodded with a smile. Indeed. My mother sighed in relief. Thank goodness. Jing, you have no idea. The internet is saying you and Lu Zhen are having an affair. It scared your mother to death. My father nodded as well, scrutinizing us.
Pei.
Come with me for a moment. I had no idea what my father discussed with Pei, but from that day on, Pei's visits for dinner surpassed the number of times I washed my hair. Xiangmanen's fans did not engage in any extreme actions, but my unedited face spread like wildfire. It didn't take long for someone to recognize me as the sole daughter of the Yin family. Perhaps my parents had spent some money, for soon enough, all information and photographs of me vanished from the internet. I lay in bed, laughing at a variety show until my stomach hurt when my mother barged in. "Jing, go call Xiao Pei over for dinner." I shot her a sidelong glance. "Mom, he has a housekeeper at home, all right?" My mother tossed her slippers onto my bed. "Can a housekeeper's food compare to mine? Xiao Pei's parents are traveling abroad, and he's all alone at home. Isn't it normal for you two to share a meal?" I caught the slippers and grinned as I handed them back. "Your cooking does indeed have that homely flavor, but every meal doesn't feel like a family meal." Amid my mother's furious protests, I dashed to Pei's house. His door was unlocked, and after greeting the housekeeper, I headed upstairs. Upon entering his bedroom, I found it empty, with the sound of running water echoing from the bathroom. I sat on the sofa, idly surveying the layout of his room. It hadn't changed much since I left years ago. From childhood to now, Pei's room had always been the one I frequented the most. His mother was a gentle and open-minded woman who never pressured him about his studies. Pei's room was filled with game consoles and an endless supply of snacks. It was our base during our school days. My house and Pei's were in adjacent buildings, and our bedrooms were right next to each other. I was in the south, while he was in the north. I could call out through the window, and he would hear me from his room. So, whenever I received a scolding for poor grades and cried secretly in my room, Pei would always throw chocolates and strawberry candies into my window. His parents had complained more than once about how he was wasting the sunny southern room and insisted on staying in the chilly northern one. I wholeheartedly agreed and had even encouraged Pei to switch rooms. He had merely continued fiddling with his Rubik's Cube without looking up, saying, "No, I like this room." Now, gazing at Pei's window, I unexpectedly felt nostalgic for our school days. After surveying the room, I still couldn't discern what was so special about it. There was no sunlight to be found. However, I did catch sight of a photograph partially sticking out from under Pei's pillow, featuring a girl in a white dress. The picture had yellowed over time, yet its corners were well preserved with transparent tape. Driven by curiosity, I almost lifted the pillow to take a peek, but quickly realized I shouldn't invade someone else's privacy. I turned my head away. On Pei's desk, there was a transparent box containing a stack of scattered flight tickets. Upon seeing a familiar logo, I paused. Wasn't this the ticket for when he came to Germany to visit me? Why was he still keeping it? Beneath the tickets lay various miscellaneous receipts. I suspected Pei might have a habit of collecting tickets. Just then, my phone rang in the bathroom. The bathroom door opened, and Pei's voice emerged. "Yeah, I'm at home. Come on up." I stared in disbelief as Pei emerged from the bathroom, clad only in a towel. He too was taken aback and ended the call. With broad shoulders, a narrow waist, and defined abs, droplets of water cascaded down his hair. Disappearing within the confines of the towel draped around my waist, I swallowed hard, my voice faltering. My mother." She said. "Your mother? No. My mother asked you to come for dinner." Pei nodded indifferently, though I noticed a faint flush on his earlobes. Suddenly, he stood before me, arching an eyebrow. "Haven't he had enough of the view yet?" I was jolted awake, overwhelmed by the rich scent of bergamot emanating from him, leaving me breathless. I instinctively pushed him away, the warmth and elasticity of his body igniting a rush of heat within me. My hand rested on his abdominal muscles, and I could feel him tense up at my touch. A voice from outside, eerie and thunderous, shattered the moment. "What are you two doing?" Startled, I cried out, as if I had been caught in the act of a comic strip. Seeing Lu Zhen standing at the door, I patted my chest, breathless. "You scared me to death." Lu Zhen's gaze shifted suspiciously between Pei and me. "What are you two?" Pei interrupted him. "Don't think too much. She came to call me for dinner." For some inexplicable reason, an awkwardness washed over me, and I hastily stood up to leave. You should hurry and change. I'll wait for you downstairs." Ultimately, Pei and Lu Zhen made their way to my home for dinner. My mother paused upon seeing Lu Zhen, then enthusiastically ushered him inside. "Little Lu has come too. Come in for dinner." Pei went to the kitchen to help my mother with the dishes. Lu Zhen and I sat across from each other at the dining table. Once Pei had set the dishes down, he naturally took a seat beside me. Lu Zhen's expression was somewhat frosty, and he ate in silence. After dinner, Lu Zhen received a phone call and departed first. My mother, Pei, and I remained in the living room sipping tea. Suddenly, my mother clapped her hands. Xiaoyi, your studio, ISN, T2 busy these days, right?
Pei shook his head. Not busy.
A smile blossomed on my mother's face. That's great. You should keep Jingjing company. Your parents mentioned a wonderful hot spring abroad, and they asked me and Uncle in to go soak there. I spat my tea out. Pfft. Pei wiped the tea from his face, his expression turning slightly awkward. That's not appropriate. Just the two of us, a man and a woman. My mother clicked her tongue, giving Pei a look of exasperation. You're quite old-fashioned, aren't you? You two are a couple. And your parents and I have been friends for decades. Auntie has watched you grow up. Can I trust your character? I'm just worried about Jingjing being home alone. Pei managed to smirk and nodded. All right, Auntie. Please be careful when you and Uncle go out. That very afternoon, my parents flew away. I watched Pei standing in my living room, feeling somewhat helpless as I scratched my head. Don't mind what my mother said. I've lived abroad for so many years, I'm not afraid. Pei, holding his pajamas, raised an eyebrow. Well, how could I refuse a request from my elders? Which room should I stay in? I felt a sense of futility, like hitting a pillow. Leading Pei upstairs, I opened several bedroom doors. Only the guest room across from mine was tidy. I pointed. Let's use this room. It should be freshly cleaned. By the way, should we order takeout for dinner? Pei set his things down and replied without looking back. I'll cook. What do you want to eat? I gazed at his back in astonishment. You can cook? Hidden depths indeed. That evening, Pei prepared 4 dishes and a soup. After my first bite, I apologized to him. I'm sorry for making you eat at my house for so many days. My mother's cooking is notoriously awful, isn't it? Pei served me a bowl of soup, chuckling softly. It's fine. The flavor is quite unique. I devoured my meal, tears brimming in my eyes. My mother enjoyed experimenting with novel dishes, especially to showcase her culinary skills after my return. She prepared 3 different meals each day, nearly putting our housekeeper out of a job. This was my first encounter with such a palatable home-cooked meal since coming back. Somehow, I found myself in a peculiar cohabitation with Pei. During this time, my days were remarkably comfortable. As an unemployed drifter, Pei also seemed unhurried. Our days were filled with cooking and practicing driving for my license. One night, we went to see a horror film. Half asleep, I was jolted awake by a terrifying face that flashed in my mind. A heart racing, I patted my chest. I stepped out to grab a bottle of cold water. A sliver of light seeped from Pei's room. Glancing at the hallway clock, I noted it was 1:30. Why was he still awake? I knocked on his door, but no one answered. Had he forgotten to turn off the light? I twisted the knob and peeked inside. Pei was deep in thought, wearing headphones. Upon seeing me, he removed them and raised an eyebrow. Why are you awake? I rubbed my face, puzzled. What are you thinking about at this hour? Pei stretched his long legs and, with a teasing smile, replied, I'm thinking of being quiet. I fled in haste back to my room, clutching my chest, feeling my heart thudding wildly. Lu Zhan liked me, the entire courtyard knew it. I liked Pei, a secret I had harbored for years, unknown to anyone. Pei was the pride of our courtyard, consistently at the top of his class. It is not an exaggeration to say that the love letters he received could be weighed in pounds. Although we grew up together, Pei and Lu Zhen were polar opposites in personality. I once witnessed a sweet-looking girl stop Lu Zhen, shyly handing him a love letter. Hello. This is a letter I wrote for you. I hope you'll read it. Lu Zhen opened it right there. Reading the girl's heartfelt confessions aloud for everyone to hear, discussing with his friends which line was the most corny. The girl's face turned from rosy to pale, and she ran away covering her face in despair. Pei's desk drawer was always stuffed with girl snacks and anonymous love letters. He would solemnly place them in a box to take home, occasionally opening a few to glance at them. But most ended up gathering dust in a corner of his room. Among those anonymous letters, there was once one from me. Fearing my handwriting would be recognized, I held the pen with my left hand and wrote only a brief line. I hope to be by your side often. I had contemplated confessing to Pei, but my inner fear held me back. I dreaded the thought that speaking my feelings would irrevocably shatter our years of friendship. During my studies in Germany, Pei would visit me every few months. Sometimes he came with my parents, other times with friends from our courtyard, but more often he came alone. On the snowy streets of Berlin, Pei bought me a thick scarf. The moment he wrapped it around me, I clenched my fists tightly. At that instant, I yearned to throw myself into his embrace. Pei would likely never know that during my youth, the light in his bedroom accompanied me through countless nights. Each of those dream-filled nights featured only him. The next day, I descended the stairs. Pei Yi and I acted as if we had not seen each other the previous night, proceeding with our usual breakfast. Pei Yi brewed me a cup of coffee, his eyes glued to his phone as he asked, without looking up, "Do you have time tonight? Would you accompany me to a dinner gathering?" I nodded. "Sure. But you'll have to help me pick out a dress." At the formalwear shop, Pei Yi received a phone call while I browsed for a gown. I pointed at a black satin dress, and just as the sales associate was about to retrieve it for me, Xiang Nanan approached, holding her phone aloft. "All right. Darlings, I have finished my makeup and am ready to try on the dresses." Upon seeing me, her expression momentarily shifted. "Sister Jing, what are you doing here?" I glanced around and coolly replied, "It seems this establishment hasn't indicated it as a private venue." Xiang Nanan displayed a look of feigned grievance. "I'm here to shoot a work video. Could you please refrain from interrupting my work?" I chuckled in disbelief. "I don't believe I've said anything at all." Xiang Nanan held her phone firmly, perfectly positioned to capture me. I snatched her phone, and indeed, the perspective was aimed directly at me. The barrage of comments on the screen were filled with vitriol directed at me. "The mistress is back again. Are you stalking?
Pervert.
Goodness, why does the mistress always appear? Can this inappropriate childhood friend just stay away? Am I the only one who thinks it's rather inappropriate for Xiang Nanan to be filming an ordinary person? Is the one above a supporter of the mistress? How can there be someone defending the mistress?"
Yuck.
Xiang Nanan's expression faltered as she attempted to retrieve her phone. "Sister Jing, you are truly disturbing me. Please return my phone." I lifted her phone, aiming it at her. "You and Xiang Nanan have unjustly launched an online harassment campaign against me, even attacking my moral character and personal dignity. Given this, I have no choice but to pursue legal action. Do you think hiding behind a screen and hurling insults is without consequence?" I tossed the phone back into her arms. With a finger, I lifted Xiang Nanan's chin, gazing into her panicked eyes, a smirk creeping onto my lips. "Xiang Nanan, I understand your desire to marry into wealth, but do not provoke me. Prepare to receive a court summons." I turned and entered the fitting room to try on a dress. Upon my exit, Lu Zhen was gently cradling a sobbing Xiang Nanan, whose body trembled with each cry. Seeing me emerge, the phone in Lu Zhen's hand shattered at my feet, startling me and darkening my expression. "Are you hitting me?" Lu Zhen, holding Xiang Nanan protectively, frowned. "Jing, you need to apologize to Xiang Nanan." I ripped a crossbody bag from a nearby mannequin and hurled it at them. "Apologize? You two are the ones who should be ashamed. I have tolerated you long enough, Lu Zhen. Are you never going to stop?" Xiang Nanan cowered in Lu Zhen's embrace. Her face pale with fear, yet a glimmer of satisfaction flashed in her eyes. "Brother Lu Zhen, please don't argue with Sister Jing. Don't do this for my sake." Sister Jing isn't being intentional. Perhaps she just feels unrequited love. I was infuriated to the point of laughter, rolling my eyes toward the ceiling. Unrequited love. A flicker of emotion crossed Lu Zhen's eyes as he pressed his lips together, his tone calming. "Jing, have you really not been in a relationship all these years because of me? Then why did you lie to me and go abroad to study?" I crossed my arms, scrutinizing Lu Zhen. "Who told you I haven't been in a relationship?" Lu Zhen abruptly released Xiang Nanan, stepping forward to grasp my arm. "Didn't you say you had no boyfriend last time?" I shrugged off Lu Zhen's hand. "That was then. Now I do." Xiang Nanan stood timidly behind Lu Zhen. "Sister Jing, who is your boyfriend? Do we know him?" I averted my gaze, feeling guilty.
Xiang Nanan feignait de surprise.
Covering her mouth. "Sister, you aren't lying, are you?" I tossed my hair back, feigning composure. "That is not something I can disclose." Pei Yi's icy voice drifted in from the doorway. "What is so inconvenient to say? Am I that shameful?" Lu Zhen squinted at Pei Yi as he approached me. Pei Yi assertively took my hand, instantly calming my inner turmoil. However, Xiang Nanan chimed in playfully. "Brother Pei Yi, I know you and Sister Jing have a good relationship. But we're all friends here. You don't need to deceive me and Brother Lu Zhen for Sister Jing's sake." Pei Yi raised an eyebrow, amusement dancing in his features. "If I recall correctly, Jing is an only child, isn't she?" Xiang Nanan's complexion drained of color as she stammered. "Ah, I thought Sister Jing. She looks older than me, so I've always called her sister." Pei suddenly leaned in to scrutinize Xiang Nanan before shaking his head. "No, I see you as looking somewhat older, actually." This was the first time Pei Yi had been so rude to a lady, yet unexpectedly, I felt a surge of delight within. Lu Zhen's expression darkened, his gaze fixed on our intertwined hands. "Pei Yi, are you serious or jesting?" Pei chuckled lightly. "Brother, have you ever seen me with a girlfriend over the years?" I've liked Jing since we were children. Such a candid confession made me involuntarily tighten my grip. However, Pei grasped my hand firmly, reinforcing his hold. Lu Zhen's eyes blazed with anger as he confronted Pei Yi. Are you even human? Don't you know I like Jing? Stealing your brother's girlfriend is really low. Pei Yi released my hand, grabbing Lu Zhen by the collar. You like Jing? Is that what you call your years of bullying her? Your affection is merely a series of fleeting relationships? When you were in bed with other women, did you ever think about Jing? How can you not feel disgusted at your attempts to find someone resembling her? Lu Zhen was rendered speechless, panic flickering in his eyes. Meanwhile, Xiang Nan rushed forward, tearfully attempting to separate them. Brother Pei Yi, you've misunderstood. Brother Lu Zhen doesn't like Sister Jing. We are a couple now. Suddenly, Lu Zhen seemed to snap out of it, releasing Pei Yi's collar. Right, I have a girlfriend. I don't like Jing. I scoffed derisively. That's for the best. Lu Zhen, I have never liked you, not once. Lu Zhen flinched, hurt flashing in his eyes. Yet he stubbornly retorted, then I must be the lucky one. He hurriedly took Xiang Nan's hand and exited the store. Pei Yi and I stood rooted in place. I couldn't help but fidget with my hands, glancing cautiously at Pei Yi. Thank you for helping me earlier. Pei Yi turned to me, his gaze deep. Jing? Every word I spoke was heartfelt. My nails dug into my flesh, a sense of disbelief washing over me as I turned my head. Including that declaration? Pei Yi cradled my face in his hands, our eyes locking. In Pei Yi's gaze, I saw my reflection. He spoke each word deliberately, solemnly. Jing, I have liked you since childhood. Very much. Otherwise, why would I have traveled to Germany so many times? Thus, Pei Yi and I officially began our romantic relationship. It turned out that mutual infatuation truly existed. It was astonishing to realize that someone had secretly harbored feelings for me all these years. The day after Pei Yi and I posted about our relationship on social media, Xiang Nan received a court summons. Lu Zhen approached me, claiming that Xiang Nan had not acted with malice and hoped I would withdraw my legal complaint. I found Lu Zhen utterly laughable. After all the slander I endured from Xiang Nan, what is wrong with defending my rights? Lu Zhen fell silent, his face reddening as he attempted to explain. Jing, if Xiang Nan publicly apologizes online, she'll lose her job. What will she do then? Jing, your family is well off. You wouldn't care about the compensation, would you? Can't you just withdraw the lawsuit? I stared at Lu Zhen for a long moment. If you truly care for your girlfriend, hire her a good lawyer. I will not withdraw my complaint. I may not need the compensation, but I demand an apology. Lu Zhen managed a bitter smile, gazing at me for a while, his voice barely above a whisper. If I were to seek you out in Germany, would you come to like me? I shook my head, my gaze earnest. Lu Zhen, I've truly regarded you as nothing more than a good friend since childhood. Regardless of whether you go to Germany or not, my feelings remain unchanged. A flicker of hurt flashed in Lu Zhen's eyes as he pressed further. And what about Pei Yi? Why do you like him? After much contemplation, I confessed. I really don't know. I just do. He then asked, and what is it that you like about me? Lu Zhen let out a soft, incredulous laugh. Perhaps this is what genuine affection feels like. Just as you like Pei Yi without reason, I find myself inexplicably drawn to you. I nodded, acknowledging the wisdom in his words. I was uncertain whether Lu Zhen had sought legal counsel for Xiang Nan. Nevertheless, Xiang Nan lost the case and publicly apologized to me online, her carefully crafted persona crumbling in an instant. Her accounts were subsequently banned. While organizing my wardrobe, I stumbled upon a white dress that sparked a fleeting memory in my mind, elusive yet tantalizing. Eagerly, I rushed to Pei Yi's room. He was in the midst of changing clothes and startled at my entrance. He quickly enveloped me in his arms, leaning close enough that his warm breath sent shivers down my spine. You come and go in my room with such ease, Jing. Remember, I am a man. I squirmed in his embrace, attempting to break free, but felt his grip tighten, his body growing rigid. Pei Yi lightly nipped my earlobe. Jing, if you keep squirming, I might lose control. Instantly, I stilled, my heart racing as I listened to his heavy breaths. After a moment, I found my voice, surprised by its hoarseness. May I take a look at the photo beneath your pillow? Pei Yi paused, a half-smile gracing his lips as he lifted the pillow. How did you know? I held the photograph in my hand, tears blurring my vision. Indeed, it was the photo taken on my 18th birthday. I sat by the window, clad in that white dress, my eyes slightly reddened and expression bewildered. I had been distressed over my poor performance in the mock exam, hardly sleeping the night before. I recalled that Pei's window had been illuminated all night, revealing that he had quietly kept me company. I turned and threw myself into Pei's arms, my voice breaking as I cried, "Pei, why didn't you tell me sooner?" He stumbled back onto the bed, gently stroking my hair. "I feared that my feelings would push you away. I can't bear the thought of a life without you." With tears in my eyes, I leaned against him, gazing into the light glimmering in his eyes. "I have always liked you, even before, and I wrote you a love letter." Pei looked momentarily bewildered. I had no idea. I buried my face in his chest. I wrote it with my left hand, just a single line. "Afraid you would recognize my handwriting." Pei propped himself up, excitedly holding me close. "Was it something along the lines of wishing to be with you always?" My eyes widened in surprise. "How did you know?" He rummaged through his transparent box on the desk, finally producing a yellowed envelope. He showed it to me, the handwriting trembling and undeniably ugly. It was indeed the letter I had written years ago. Pei's expression was a mix of relief and disbelief. At that time, I randomly opened one and thought the handwriting was so terrible, yet it felt eerily similar to yours, each stroke meticulously crafted. I tried to convince myself it was written by you, so I kept it. I never imagined it truly was. I too felt a sense of disbelief, as if caught in a dream. Just as I lifted my gaze to speak, my lips were captured by Pei's. His kiss was fervent, unfamiliar, imbued with an irresistible urgency. I felt my breath diminish, my mind swirling. My head sank into his pillow, a chill spreading across my chest as Pei's hands explored various forms, soft and delicate. A soft, involuntary sound escaped my throat, igniting a rush of embarrassment. Pei's lips traced a path from my earlobe to my cheek, down my neck. I shyly turned my head away. In the photograph beside us, my 18-year-old self wore a distressed expression. The edges of the picture were carefully adhered, a testament to the unvoiced struggles of a girl in solitude during the quiet of the night. It turned out that someone had been quietly caring for me all along. The end of the story. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing and liking to support. Until we meet again in the next tale.